If she had only been ugly, we would still be together.
Hello there, all the ships at sea. Mike Young here. This is Dom Irrera live from the Laugh Factory. Cut the music!
Very live.
Mike Young, how are you, my brother?
Good to see you, Dom Irrera.
Good to see you. I saw Mike last night. He was on a show we did where we both, not to brag, killed.
Kind of crushed it here at the Laugh Factory.
And it just reminded me of his talents. And he just directed a movie, and he's editing it now. And
This is true.
Good to see you. We were just talking about, we met, did we meet in Montreal? Or we met at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, I had seen you a bunch at the Comedy Store. Didn't really know you that well, but then we kind of bonded in Montreal in 01.
Back in the day.
I think it was 01.
Cool, right after the millennium.
Yeah.
When the world's computers were going to stop.
It was supposed to be all over.
I know. Well, it's going to be all over again, isn't it? Very soon, according to the Mayan calendar, which is a very hip calendar to keep up with.
Yeah, just like my people, the Jewish calendar. It's just like
You
that. Calendar.
Jewish?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were Jewish.
No one does.
Well, Mike Young.
I know. It was Yulovsky when my grandpa came over.
Yulovsky.
Yulovsky. My grandpa changed his name to Young.
What a name to pick up chicks with. How you doing? I'm Mike Yulovsky.
Yeah. Russell Peters thinks I should go back to Yulovsky.
Don't say that name in this show.
Uh-oh, bad.
No, Russell what?
He thinks he loves Yulovsky. He's always pushing me.
I think Yulovsky's great. Young
I know.
is like Mighty Joe Young. That's all I think of.
Yulovsky. I was never a Yulovsky. My dad, when he was in second grade, changed his name.
A lot of Jews change their names.
Had to.
Well, they were comedians, too. In those days, comedians used to just change. Larry David's not Larry David. Richard Lewis isn't Richard Lewis, you know.
Oh, really?
They're both Jaime Berkowitz.
Right.
You know. So now tell us about the movie, Mike.
The movie's called My Man is a Loser, and it's starring Michael Rappaport, Brian Callen, and John Stamos. And
now, you know, Michael Rappaport is the stepson of Mark Lano and Joanne Lano.
Yeah. Yeah.
She had another name. But these people were owners of the Improv.
Yeah.
It's a very incestuous story of
really crazy
how close
story.
the business is.
Yeah, because I never knew that either. And then he's telling me his stepdad's part owner, and it turns out like when I first got to LA, I took like one class, and his
Mark taught
stepdad
it?
was teaching it. And Rappaport even started doing comedy like for like 6 months, he said. But he was one of those dudes who just would go off on the audience and had no act.
Oh, really?
And just go crazy.
He got pissed off if they didn't laugh.
He was angry immediately.
That's what Larry David was.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
What are you people stupid? You're not laughing at this. Someday I'm gonna have Seinfeld.
Right. So I found out about his whole stand-up comedy roots, and I wrote it, directed it, and hopefully it'll be out in like March. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience.
Were you in it?
Yeah, I put myself in it.
How'd you get that part?
Yeah, I kept it safe, Dom. I played myself.
Did you audition for yourself?
I put myself in. We shot at a comedy club in New York.
Where?
I put Gotham.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a storyline where Stamos has a chick.
Don't I have a Gotham hat on?
Yeah, you do. Is that a Gotham hat?
Yeah.
It's a great looking hat, by the way. Damn.
Yeah. Everybody thinks it's the Packers.
That's what I would. That's exactly what I thought.
It's the wrong G.
That's a good hat, Dom. Good hat. Gotham's got good
Chris
merchandise.
Mazzilli and the boys.
Yeah. So I played a comedian. I played a dude that like slept with Stamos' girl earlier in our lives.
That's
and
a
he
comedian.
gets jealous. Yeah, totally. It's fun. I work the acting chops.
Yeah, good.
They're not great.
No, they're not great.
Not great.
Well, the stand-up chops are back. I saw you last night.
Thanks.
It's so funny to see. And you can't. Excuse me. You can't really explain the difference, but you see it. When you were up last night after the person you followed, and she was not on your level.
Yeah.
The audience knew it as soon as you start talking. It's amazing. Like you didn't even have to say anything that funny.
Right.
Which, by the way, you didn't. But seriously, you don't even have to like really. They just know. They sense it like a dog. Like when a dog senses somebody's afraid of them, or they sense that somebody's relaxed.
You think that's a confidence thing, or you think it's just walking on stage 1,000 times?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's a lot of stuff that just happens to you as you evolve.
Right.
Yeah, I do think it's a confidence thing, but I just think it's so interesting. How do they know it's not fake bravado? How do they know? I mean, but also, like the level with which your timing and everything, the level of your jokes, and
Right.
you know, I mean, there was one girl who went on. I don't know if it was right after you, and her whole idea. I'm not putting down women. It just happened to be two women. It was. I'm not putting down midgets either. You know, I got bleeped the other night on Fallon for saying the word midget.
Did you?
I was talking about this one thing about how you can't lie about an erection. You know, I'm talking about this on NBC.
Yeah.
You can't lie about an erection. Honey, you're not hard. Yeah, I'm hard. No, you're not. I'm looking right at it. Right? No, you're looking at it from the wrong angle. They let me get away with all this shit, and they edited midget.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah, well, it's politically. I knew it too.
Right when you said it.
Yeah. But the girl who came on after you, all she was energy.
Right.
But they didn't buy that either. They laughed, but they didn't buy, hey, you know, like,
Right.
because it wasn't real.
Audiences are smarter than you think. I mean, that is an interesting thing where
Yeah.
somebody tries to sell their whole act on pure energy. It's
Yeah.
like, and we've seen that probably 100
yeah.
times with guys at this store or wherever. You see guys with just low mental game but
Yeah.
high energy. You can't fly too high with that.
I mean, one of the things that you can get away with, as you know, in these showcase clubs is having a great 15 minutes.
Right.
And they don't understand. The audience, how would they know that you don't have another 50 to go with it?
Right.
Because they're going, well, this guy's as good as this guy. But they don't know, how come he makes so much more money? Well, first of all, he draws,
Yep.
which is very important in business to actually make
Absolutely.
money. And secondly, he has more material.
Yep.
You know, I mean, guys I can't understand are guys like Dave Edwards. Remember Dave Edwards, that real tall, miserable guy?
Yeah. Wait, no.
Is that his
Tall,
name?
skinny white
Yeah,
dude?
Yeah.
His last name's Taylor.
Oh, Taylor.
Yeah,
Taylor.
Yeah.
Right.
He hates people.
He hates people, but there's not 1 ounce of joy in his miserableness. You know?
Right.
I mean, last night, did you see Jeremy Hotset last night?
No.
Well, Jeremy can be a miserable guy, not to me,
Right.
but I mean his general demeanor is like, oh, jeez, why did I have to wake up again today?
Right.
You know, and yet he's so fucking strong. You know,
Yeah.
he's so likable. And did I see that guy Dave Taylor? There is a Dave Edwards, I think, too.
There is,
but that's not the guy I'm talking about.
No.
Dave Taylor, he's so miserable and he's so unfunny. I'm thinking, how did he get this far?
Right.
When I see these guys lined up here every Tuesday,
Yeah.
and they don't know that their chances are pretty much nil.
Right.
And then here's a guy, he gets spots,
Right.
or he did anyway for a while.
Well, I always said about the store, the way they pick people, or the way there's no rhyme or reason. Like
No.
there's no reason for any comic to take anything personally. You're talking about, you're talking about illogical shit. It's like, who knows why someone like that gets spots? The people that run the show, they're the tastemakers that we're supposed to be pleasing. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Last night,
It's a weird dynamic.
Dane came on right before he came on. Did he follow you?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a guy who wanted to talk to me. A big black guy. He goes, brother, can I talk to you? And I didn't know if it was some trouble or something.
Right.
I said something, and he wants to be a comedian. But it was just so funny because I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, well, I wonder what he thinks it is.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what he thinks creates a comedian. And do they ever know the incredible distance between being funny with your friends and actually making people in Auckland, New Zealand laugh?
Right.
You know?
Right. The journey, if he knew it, he'd probably turn around and never even consider it.
No.
And the fact that he even had to kind of question it and said he wants to you knew you wanted to be a comedian. You probably weren't approaching dudes going, hey, I'm thinking about being. You
I
probably
never
just,
said anything to anybody.
Right. You probably
People
just,
said it to me, you
Right.
know, and I know they do that to a lot of people. They
Right.
go, well, you should be a comedian.
Right.
No, you should be doing what you're doing here, and it's funny to have you here.
Right.
It's fun because you're very funny at work.
Right.
That's what it should be,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. Not everybody should be a comedian. When people say that to me, I say, don't do it.
Well,
I
it's
say,
impossible. I mean,
kill your dream. I say, kill the dream right now. If you're even wondering or contemplating, or you're telling me how you friends think you're funny and you're thinking about getting on stage, and it's over. That's not the thought you have.
Yeah.
If you are going to be a comedian, there's I always said that I had some weird epiphany. I was class clown type of dude, and people used to say that to me too. But just like a warmth, I swear to God, came over me one day when I moved to LA, sitting in the back of the Comedy Store before I'd ever gotten on. And it was this thought of like, rich or poor, this is what I'm doing. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was just like, this is the world I want to live in. As weird as it is,
That is weird. I mean, I don't know.
world.
Yeah, I always related to comedians, and I don't know why. Whatever it was in my ego or psyche or whatever, I would like see these guys on television and think I was one of them, for no reason. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I guess I was always funny, and I got a lot of feedback from it. You know, what cracks me up is the people that say, I go, they want to. You know, I really like to be a comedian. Yeah, I go, oh really? Were you always funny? I go, no. Not particularly. Were you funny in school? No, I wasn't. Were you a class clown? No. It's really kind of depressing. Okay, well, you're perfect then. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on board
Yeah,
the
come
comedy
on.
train.
Yeah, they've got edgy rooms all over town for you. Edgy rooms everywhere. But that is interesting. You felt like you were in that clique,
I did. Yeah.
which who knows? Maybe that's why you ended up in that clique. Your mentality was already there. Like you were already there in some way.
Yeah, and I didn't have it like as like someday I'm gonna be a comedian. I always just thought I'm already a comedian. I wonder how I actually do it.
Right.
You know, how do I? You know, I'm already born a comedian. How do
Yeah.
I? Fuck it, I don't feel like paying dues and stuff.
Right.
What do you have to do? And write? Oh my God. You know.
Were you? I'm flipping the interview. Were you making
No,
a
it's all right.
living early on, like
Yeah.
very early?
Very early.
So you weren't like in your car or on the road
No.
struggling. So you kind of, boom, you were starting to see money from what you were your
Well,
craft.
but I was
early.
an actor, so I had an advantage.
Okay.
I was doing commercials before. You can't see me without a shirt on, but
Right.
my pipes are
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Right.
like
You were the
uh,
Brian Callen of your day.
I was the Brian. Yeah, I was
Right.
I was like a masculine Brian Callen. Like if Brian Callen were a man,
You're the
that
man
would have been
Callen.
me, man
Right,
Callen.
right.
But I did. See, what happened was I got my nerves out on doing plays. That was
Okay.
my nerves. I remember I was a rabbi and Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
May God bless and keep the czar far away from us. Forget about it. I was a 19-year-old rabbi, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the dressing room thinking, and this isn't like stand-up where they can, you know, it's just like, especially at a club like this, there's always a comedian around.
Right.
You can't go on. They just put somebody else.
Oh yeah.
Here, I'm the rabbi. You
Yeah.
know, it's a little part, but it's a substantial part.
Yeah.
It's important. And I thought, I got to get out of here. I'm terrified. I can't do it. I can't sing tradition, you know.
Right.
And then that was my nerve. So I never had that nerve for stand up. By the time I got to stand up, I had already done improv and acting, you know.
Right. So you had a comfort
Children's theater and singing and stuff. And
Right.
Dan Cook and I were talking about it because everybody thinks, you know, wise guy comedian. I was singing like these children's songs. We are the traveling players, performing wherever we go. Like stupid, you know. Like
Yeah,
you never
nobody
think
would know that.
Nobody would know. Hey, forget about it.
Yeah.
So, but you know, how about you? Did you act? Did you write?
I was in a couple plays in college, but I always wrote. I was always a
Oh,
creative
see, that's a
writing.
big. Yeah, what did you major in?
I majored in RTV, like radio, TV, film.
Oh, really?
in
Well, that's-
Arizona. Yeah.
That's a practical thing for you.
But the irony is like, yeah, I took all these production type courses, but nothing really creative except for my writing classes.
But did it help for directing the movie?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
See, it actually helped me for stage presence and cheating front and learning.
Well,
you know.
I'm sure that did. I'm just saying my program
Yeah.
in school when I was in college, that didn't. We weren't USC Film School. This is University of Arizona. Our cameras were like 20 years older than they should have been, so that didn't prepare me. But I've been a writer since I was a kid. Like I always would make up stories and turn them in, and teachers were always like, "This is like real character development." And you're
And how come
12.
you don't use that writing in your act? Come on, Mike. I'm giving you the business.
You're amazing.
It's
You're
a-
amazing. You're a great writer.
It's a oh no, I'm
Just
not.
wrote a turnaround. But everyone is always like, "Do you like writing better than stand up?" I feel like they all just kind of
Yeah,
bleed
yeah.
into each other.
Well, yeah, people.
It's just a discipline.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, people ask, well, what would you rather do? I'd rather do both. That's the great thing. I like to
Right.
do a TV show and then sneak off and do a spot. You know, the
Yeah.
first night I did the Tonight Show, I came into the Comedy Store and did a spot. You know, I mean, it's just a great feeling.
That is a great feeling.
But see, I had to fight against. I had like a speech thing where I just had a Mexican accent for no reason.
What do you mean when you were
yeah,
a kid?
Yeah, it was very weird. I don't know. Maybe I should go to eat.
You just threw that in?
It was an impediment.
Did you have an impediment?
No, I'm kidding. Wouldn't that be great?
I mean,
he has to work on his. He has a Mexican accent. We can't figure out why. He's been watching too many cartoons with Pepe. No, that's a French accent.
That's so funny. Dom Irrera had a Mexican accent his first 10 years of comedy.
Watch him. You got it. You can't hardly understand them.
Dude, didn't you feel like the luckiest guy ever though when you started making a living as a stand-up? Weren't you having thoughts like?
I couldn't believe it. I remember when the first week I made $1,000, and I was married, and I said to my wife, $1,000. It's like in Austin Powers, $1 million, $1,000, and I remember saying to her, "Who needs more money than that?" You know, and I really felt that at the time.
Yeah.
Like $1,000.
Yeah.
Our rent's only $365. Then we got all that other left. We can eat food. That's all we'll do.
Yeah. Order in, honey.
Yeah, I know. I definitely felt very lucky. I mean, the commercial thing came really easily and
Right.
and that really came in handy. And you know, but I mean, I didn't want to make a living doing that, and I don't know if I
Right.
could have. I mean, I
Right.
know I was lucky at first. I got the first commercial I ever auditioned for, which was pretty odd. I didn't know it. I was just so oblivious to how hard it was. I went in, and the agent said, "Give me a call." He wouldn't even sign me. I said, "I think I got it." He goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it. They seem like I got it."
Yeah.
They go, and then he goes, "You know what? You got it." And what it was it was a South American and German. It was a Volkswagen commercial, and I was a thief, and Volkswagen was the most stolen car in the world.
Right.
And they have me stealing the car. I'm just doing like mime and stuff.
Yeah.
And these fucking Doberman pinchers are right in my face. You know.
I feel like I know that commercial. I swear to God.
You might have seen it somewhere.
Like 20 years ago. Like
yeah.
I feel like that's weird. Why do I know that commercial?
You know what we were talking about the other night is how jaded your family gets, and you know, does your family just take it for granted that you're in this business and that you actually make a living in show business?
I mean, I don't know if taking it for granted is the right thing.
Where are you from, Mike?
Detroit.
Oh, that's right. You were saying about the
From
Tigers.
Detroit. Yeah. But like every time I go home, like at this point, I'm like, Ma, don't come to the show. Like you've seen it all.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But she still to this day loves it. She calls
Oh,
all her
that's great.
friends. They support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my family was always like cool and supportive when it came to it.
Yeah,
was
mine
weird.
too.
Like
Yeah.
oddly supportive. To where I was going, are you sure that it's okay?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I grew up in the scrap metal business. So my dad drove a dump truck. You know, he
Really?
drove a truck. He was a scrap peddler.
Wow.
And he used to just,
You
you know.
should talk to Dub. He grew up in the
I
junkyard
know.
business.
We had a similar.
Really?
Yeah, similar backgrounds. My dad would go from yard to yard. His dad had a yard. So
Uh-huh.
he's probably making a lot of money, Dove's
Look
dad.
at those people there with their own yard.
You know what I mean? So-
We go from yard
It's
to
a lot of
yard.
money back in the
Son
day.
of a bitch.
But, you know, my dad used to always just say, do whatever you want. Just, this is going to kill you, this business. You know, he's like,
Yeah.
you know, people, the government's on me. They're pinching pennies. Everyone's looking
Yeah.
to screw you over. So he would always just say, pick whatever you want and just be great at it and do it.
I know. I said my nephew's just changed his major to music at the University of Tampa, and he asked me what I thought. You know, because his father says, "Well, you can't make a living as a musician." I said, "Well, you know, even if you major in something, you don't have to make a living at it. But if you love it, you know, go for it." I mean, I like we were saying at the beginning of this conversation, it's almost impossible to make it as a stand-up comedian.
Right.
And I'm not saying that because we're so wonderful, but the odds are so astronomical.
Right, statistically.
Yeah. I mean.
It's like you said. You said it's like going pro. Who's you got 7 million athletes, and you got 700
yeah.
going pro.
Yeah, it's
You know,
ridiculous.
so to make a
we
living-
talked about that last night.
Yeah, you mentioned something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
we figured out statistically that if you make $400,000 or more as a stand-up,
Yeah.
the odds are greater to make the NBA in the
Right.
United States.
Right.
Because even though $400,000 is not a lot of money by NBA standards, the dramatic span between the top comedians, the millions, and the
Yeah.
girl who's making $25,000 a year
Yeah.
that was on last night.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it's a crazy field, but like you said, it's like when you know, you just know. And there were moments in my coming up where I was like, I wish somebody would say quit. Like I wish you would
What do you
someone
think?
say you're
It was
not
bad,
funny.
right? It was bad. Tell me it was
You
bad.
know what I mean? Like-
Tell me I suck.
Like,
Yeah.
and you're probably, you. I don't know if you're a competitive person
Of
in your
course.
mind.
Very competitive with myself more than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, so am I. So I used
Yeah.
to just my like athletic competitive nature would take over in comedy clubs.
What
And I
did
would
you
just-
play? What sports?
I played baseball and hockey.
Uh-huh. White boy.
I played basketball in the summertime because you couldn't play hockey and
Yeah,
basketball
yeah.
same season.
Right.
But I played summer league in Detroit, so I had I came out here with an attitude.
Did you?
I came out with a bad
Tough
attitude.
guy?
Tough guy. Not tough guy, but just like
You're pretty tough, right?
I've been in my share of scraps.
I know that.
You know that.
Yeah. We could talk about that if you want or if you don't. It's up to you.
I mean, as long as I don't.
But
mention
I
any
interrupted
names.
you though. You had a thought and I broke it. I'm sorry.
Being competitive.
Oh yeah.
And I was just talking about like I used to just look around and be like, okay, I'll bury that guy. I'm gonna bury that guy.
Oh, in stand up?
Yeah, but not like in a negative way, but
Yeah.
just like it just made me want to train harder, and
Yeah.
I'd be doing sets in front of my air conditioning unit and pacing back and forth, and just I don't know. I think being from Detroit and having like a blue collar attitude about it,
Yeah.
has been helpful.
Sure.
You know?
I remember being at the comic strip in New York, and I was working in the coat room
Yep.
with this guy, Danny Vitale,
Right.
who was fucking hilarious. He used to tell me, he goes, if you're gonna go out with your girl that night, if you're gonna get laid, don't come before. He says, jerk it, but don't off it. Don't jerk it off. Just jerk it to the
Don't
point
off it.
where you got a lot of jizz, but you don't shoot. He says, I'm telling you, it works. And she thinks you're like this, like gallons are coming out. She's guzzling. She can't get enough. And anyway, so this is my life, right? I'm working in the coat room with this nut. And this guy, Richie Tinkin, who owned the club, he'd come and get his coat. And I go, Richie, and I wasn't a nagger. I got to tell you, I'm actually better than most of these guys here. I really thought that,
Yeah.
And I was. Honestly, I was.
Of course you were.
But I'm in the coat room, and he goes, "Yeah, Dom." He says, "Get my coat, will you?" That was my thing. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all right, kid.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That you had that belief. You knew.
Oh, I knew.
That you were
But
better.
I knew. But I was already doing improvs and stuff.
Right.
I was an improv group. It wasn't like I was, an unpolished performer.
Right.
And they were just slicker than me because they had been doing it so much.
Right.
I couldn't believe you had to say the same thing over and over to perfect it.
Yep. That's an interesting part of our business for sure. Repetition and trying to recreate the.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's
a lot of-
acting.
It is. Because a lot of my bits are personal, so I kind of have to recreate the emotion that I feel,
Right.
which isn't always easy if you're not in the mood. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's I don't know, man. Comedians are just an interesting crew.
Well, we were talking about that yesterday. There's no dumb, really good comedians.
Absolutely
You
not.
can't be dumb. You
Nope.
can't. You can be dumb in other areas. You can be, but you have to have a certain really a light in your head, a brightness.
Absolutely.
That not to stroke us. We are so wonderful, but you can fake it to a level.
Right.
And like you can watch and but after a point, to separate from the pack, you have to have some brilliance to you.
It's definitely some brains. Yeah, right. You could be bad at math, but you either have a great command of the language or you understand human nature on some level that other people don't.
Yeah. You think in terms of jokes?
No, I'm more like reverse. Like something will be funny to me and that'll just happen and then I'll just write down the concept.
Right.
And then I'll go back and try to dig out of that. But I don't think in terms of I
Yeah.
can't think of jokes if I try to think
Neither
of
can
jokes.
I. I mean, what I thought of when you said math was I thought of a thing I had said on stage, just like a real quick burst of it. It was like, I always hated my math teacher in high school, and I ended up making more money than him, and I'm glad, and like really, and because he was so arrogant, and I thought to myself, and this was the joke part. I thought, I never needed it either. It's never like I needed geometry, or I never was in a bind and thought, fuck, if I only knew the Pythagorean theorem, I could get out of this mess.
Right. Right.
But
Well,
I see jokes flashing by
Yeah.
when even in conversation, it gets distracting sometimes.
But that's the gift. Like that's how you do your thing. Like that's your technique or your process. You just did it right in front of me. You know?
Yeah, I don't think of it, but I guess we all have a process, and
Yeah.
I'm just amazed by guys like Woody Allen who can sit and write from 9 to 5.
I could watch Annie Hall every day. I
Oh,
love that
brilliant.
movie. I mean, you know,
Grammy Hall says you're a real Jew.
in my dream world, I took so many ideas. I mean, I've watched it so many times that in my movie, I feel like I tried to bite a few of the. I mean, his brain is just
Oh, he's brilliant.
every conversation that's had in the movie is like gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he always talks about the juxtaposition between underwear and the universe.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's always like, I don't know if there's an afterlife, but I'm taking an extra pair of underwear. It's always like something about underwear. He's so bizarre. Even in Bananas, when the dictator took over,
Right.
I mean, the rebels took over and became more dictatorial
Right.
than the before dictator. Today, the official language of San Marcos will be Swedish. All underwear will be worn on the outside. We'll wear 2 pair.
Yeah.
You know, but he's always talking about underwear.
Yeah, you can see he's got a thing with that. Like,
Oh yeah.
I love it in Annie Hall. And he's like, he's the kid, where he's Woody Allen in the little kid's classroom. You know, I'm sorry, I never went through a latency period. Like he definitely was a sexual
Right.
degenerate.
Yeah.
On some level.
Uncle
When-
Joey Nichols.
Right. When recurring themes pop up, you know, you
Right,
can tell what
yeah.
the guy's about.
Oh yeah.
But
Remember when he was the kid, and you knew this as a kid, you could relate to it. And the guy's there, hi, I'm Uncle Joey, and he's going, what an asshole.
Totally.
Remember, and he did that a couple times. He did that with the guy who was. He says, look at him mincing around. The guy's doing his. I forget what movie that. But you know what movie I loved and I'd love to see again is Love and Death.
I didn't see Love and Death.
It's very interesting. It's about. It's a parody of the Russian Revolution, not the Russian Revolution, the Napoleonic War with Russia.
Yeah.
And there was one scene, and it's not even a punchline, but I loved it.
Yeah.
They're going to go to war with Napoleon, and he's playing the Russians,
Right.
and he says the brothers volunteer to go, and they're I will fight for Russia, and he goes, I'd like to go, but I have a yellow streak down my back. It's not vertical, it's horizontal, right? And his mother goes, no, you will go and you will die for Mother Russia. And he turns to the camera and he goes, my mother, folks. Like my mother's turning me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could break a fourth wall and
Yeah.
like just. I don't know. I listened to all like his old stand up, and it's all
Yeah.
that's
I
somebody.
shot a moose. What were you going to say about his stand-up?
No, I was gonna say that's just somebody with a clear point of view from
Yeah.
Jump Street. Like all his stand up, you can hear stand up in his movies. Like you could hear
Oh,
those
yeah.
are bits and
Yeah.
jokes and like concepts and
Yeah, Charlie Jaffe was one of his managers.
right.
And I met him. You were talking about Montreal before we started the show.
Yeah.
And I met him up in Montreal, and we became friends. And he would tell me that Woody, almost like what I'd heard about Bill Russell, he got sick before every show. He got sick at shows. Bill Russell literally threw up. I don't know
Yeah.
if Woody did that went that far.
Yeah.
But he never enjoyed it. He was always sick. It made him sick. He he hated it so much.
Yeah.
It made him it just
Right. He was going through pains, just
Yeah.
painful.
And I feel like sometimes if I feel sick, I go on stage because I feel better for that while with that adrenaline.
Yeah.
And then I feel sick again.
That's true. That's true. I've had that feeling. I've also just thought, you know what, this microphone's been so filthy, but you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I've had
yeah.
that felt fine, went up and then felt
You
sick.
ever see guys put their mouth on it and like do like
Yeah,
a seal?
used to be
Like,
a lot of
how
guys doing that shit. It made me
disgusting.
sick.
Charlie Fleischer used to bring his own mic.
Yeah.
Well, he was always in that anyway,
Yeah.
but I guess he was right.
I feel like Dice brought his mic for a while too.
Dizh,
Yeah, I think
my
he's bringing
mic.
the
Ooh.
I think he had his mic going.
Aren't you glad you didn't get stuck in a character like that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you hate to be a 62-year-old Dice?
a 62-year-old character.
But a character that is outdated.
Right.
I mean, like it's Fonz and.
I
you
haven't
know.
seen his act in a while.
But he's still doing the character. I mean, even
Right.
even if his act changes, that's his character. He doesn't play
Right.
himself.
Right.
But he almost became the character.
Right.
Or he did in some ways. He used to start. All of a sudden, he was tough. All of a sudden, just because he got big and fat, he was tough. And,
Right.
but
Did you guys not get along?
No, I love him. Why would you say that?
Yo.
Why was
Was
that
it-
bad mouthing him?
No, I've always heard of like, I never had a beef with any comedians. I just haven't up to this time.
You're not that type.
No, I haven't had any beef. Like I saw one dude steal a joke one time, checked him after the show, and then we never had a problem again. But
He stole a joke from you.
yeah,
What was the joke?
my stripper bit about every stripper's putting herself through school. I didn't
Oh,
realize there's
yeah.
a wave of genius strippers out there.
Right, right.
And it was word for word. And I just
Oh.
right after they got off stage, I said, listen, man, you know that's my joke, right? Like, I've been doing it for 6 years up here.
Yeah.
I'm not proud that I've been doing it for 6 years. But, you know, and the look on his face was like oh yeah, I don't know why I said that. It was one of those. I was like, it's okay,
Yeah.
but just never again.
I had a joke that wasn't even, it was all right, but it was about how I told my cousin he's homophobic, and he goes, I'm not afraid to fight gay guys. And this English guy, I forget his name, he did the Carr, something, Jimmy Carr, and he did it, and I said to him, Jimmy, you know, the reason you get a laugh, it was in Montreal. I said, they know me. They know that's my joke.
Right.
He said, oh, sorry, man, I just won't do it here anymore.
Shut
you
up.
fucking
That was his
gay.
answer.
That was his answer, yeah.
How do
No,
you
you're
even-
not supposed to do it anywhere anymore.
Right. How do you address that?
I just, you know, I don't feel like fighting that fight. You know, I
Right.
mean, one thing about Rogan, and Rogan is a very good friend of mine, Joe Rogan.
Love Joe.
Yeah, and he just it really gets to him.
Yeah.
The thievery. I mean, thank God people like him are out there because
Yeah, he's like
I
security.
just don't give a fuck as much. And
Right.
Joe really cares. The
Yeah.
integrity of things.
Yeah.
Joe's like that, you know.
Joe is high strung like that. He will.
Yeah.
I was on the road. He did a huge thing for me. He was the first guy that took me on the road. You know, when I was starting out at the Comedy Store, Rogan was the first dude that saw something in me and like took me on the road.
Really?
And all of a sudden, boom, I'm playing. You know, from going in the
Yeah.
original room to doing 400, 500. I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is
Yeah.
the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, Joe's really, really generous. You
Yeah,
know, he's really
he was-
generous. He's like Russell Peters.
Yep.
You know, and like,
Yeah.
you ever work with Russell?
Yes.
It's amazing how
Yeah.
there's some guys are so different when they're at the top.
Yeah.
There are some guys they want to hold it,
Yeah.
and Joe just wants to spread it.
Yeah.
You know, he don't care. He
Yeah.
don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
If somebody becomes more successful than him that he helped out, he's happy for them.
Totally.
He's confident. He's centered.
He does
you know,
his
it's
own
the,
thing.
It's the martial arts that center him.
I believe that. I believe
know?
there is something to that. That
Yeah.
discipline. Yeah, it comes through in his act. You know, he's firm in his beliefs.
Oh, he's
You know,
firm.
he's
He's fucking.
firm as
He's
can be.
firm as can. He's unbendable.
Yeah.
But we had a conversation the other night, and I said to him, Joe, you're so much different than the first round, because him and I'm first round as friends.
Yeah.
We were really close, and then after the Carlos incident,
Yep.
when he left the store, we just were busy in our own lives and didn't really see each other for over a
Yeah.
year, and then we became friends again. And we shoot pool together and stuff, and he just with having his kids and his wife and being faithful to his wife,
Yeah.
which really is important. And believe me,
course.
I know the hard way. He's just so happy, so
Yeah.
much happier.
That's
But
yeah.
he says, well, he was telling me, he says, but I'm fucking crazy. I said, but at least you channel it.
Yeah.
You know, because like he never go, I'm tired, I had enough. Like we're shooting pool. I
Right.
always have to go, all right, one more game. And I do that 3 times, and then we go.
Right, right.
Because he is, you know, you see him on stage. It's like hours.
Yeah. Joe has no. Yeah, and he doesn't get tired.
No,
He
he's
doesn't get
fucking
tired.
unbelievable.
Thank God he has that outlet. Thank God for that outlet. You know, because when he tells you that he's crazy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He will kick a wall. He's very. I
Oh.
mean, he could go. He could go win a championship in the UFC if he wasn't doing comedy.
Yeah, he
Thank God
could.
that's not his other outlet. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's just too physically brutal.
Well, he just got another black belt. He did something. He never does. Like he doesn't even when he hugs you or he shakes your hand. He never does it hard because
No,
he's so
he's-
strong. He
yeah.
snap your neck.
Yeah.
But he did something to me, and I know he didn't mean anything by. He didn't do anything really bad, but he was telling me about he had gotten this black belt in jiu-jitsu, this particular one where they pull on clothing and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
And he went like this to me. He just like I didn't even see his hand move. He just grabbed me and just pulled my shirt, but it was so fast. I thought, now I understand prison rape.
Yeah.
Now I understand
Yeah.
when a guy's this fast and strong,
Yeah.
you better just get the remote and relax your way through it because there's
Click
nothing.
away. There's nothing. you
Click
can do.
away.
Nothing. Yeah, we had I saw him on the road because you know when he was first starting out with the UFC stuff, and we'd be on the road. There were meatheads that would say some challenging shit to Joe, and
Yeah.
he didn't play that, and he was very disciplined. But I saw him like put his drink down a few times and put dudes in check, and like
Really?
let them feel his strength. You know, by some
He,
weird.
He didn't touch him.
He didn't. I'm trying to think. Maybe there was just maybe some dude would tried to push him one time, and Joe just didn't move, and the guy felt what strength really was. But no, it never had to come to blows. Plus,
Wow.
we had a security dude with us, like one of his buddies, who's just a
Isn't it funny how you have to protect tough guys? I remember when Tyson would have bouncers around him. You understand it.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to, challenge
And I
that.
remember Joe was like, he's great with the verbal assault, so he was verbally just crushing this guy
Yeah.
in a bar. And then the dude took it super personally, put his drink down like he was ready to fight, and Joe handed me his drink. Hold this. And I put it over here. And
There's
thank God
nothing-
nothing happened. Like
He,
nothing
you,
happened.
most people wouldn't stand a chance against him.
No.
You'd have to be a
Hell no.
really high level fighter to
He's
even.
world class. Like dudes that are like the world class dudes, they say he's got the hardest back spin kick.
Really?
Like, of all.
No kidding.
Like there's guys like St. Pierre who are like legends that say
Yeah.
Rogan has the hardest, whatever it is, spinning back kick he's ever felt.
Now
or
I'm
seen.
afraid to shoot pool with him again.
Yeah, no, Joe. We had a couple arguments on the road though. Like who doesn't argue on the road?
Yeah.
Because I don't back down in an argument because I'm hoping it's not going to get physical.
Yeah.
But I remember, I think I was going through a heartbreak. He's like, "You're a fucking pussy." You know what I mean? Like, and I'm crushed. I'm like fucking, I'm landing. I'm calling the girl. I'm fucking sad in the hotel. Yeah, he wasn't sympathetic to my problem at that time. We had a little argument.
Yeah, he can be unbending, but
Yeah, it was
good
fun.
dude. I love the fact when people get there, when they help other people. It's such a good sign for so many reasons.
Yeah, I like raise and raise others. Like, I just like that philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, working with Russell is amazing. He
Russell's-
treats you great. He pays you great.
He appreciates
You know what I
it.
mean? And it's
He
like
appre-
he's just like a happy.
Yeah, he appreciates the moment and what's happening to him, and he wants to share it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking, like, I have a friend, his name is Mike Post, and he wrote all the songs for all the theme songs for all the cop shows.
Right.
NYPD Blue, Law and Order, wrote all those. So he's really, really rich.
Yeah.
And he has his wife we grew up together.
Yep.
And we're on his jet going back from here to Philly. That's where we're both from, and me and her.
Yeah.
And I said, Mike, thanks for the ride. I really appreciate it. Because I fly first class.
Yeah.
I've been flying enough, but a private jet's a whole different. You could wear a machine, a bullet vest on the thing. Nobody bothers you.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And he said, he goes, Dom. He said, it's a pleasure. He said, what's the use of having this without sharing it with people you love? He goes, what am I gonna do? Like sit up here and count my money?
Right.
But I understand that.
Well, that's a dude who was raised right. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
that think like that, something was positive in their life that they think like that. Because, like you said, there's guys with money like that are the opposite, that are like hoarding and holding and
Yeah.
demeaning and you just. That's why I always say, like, you see a lot of comics be like, "Fuck the rich people," and you can't hate rich people. What, are you gonna hate somebody?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. You're wealthy. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna hate people because they work their ass off.
Yeah, and they
tried
got a
hard,
break
and they
and-
got a break, and they
Yeah.
created a great product.
I know. I
Like,
remember-
fuck that person for having
Yeah.
discipline.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never bought into that.
I remember Seinfeld telling me that when the series was at its absolute peak,
Yeah.
he said, "I know I'm at the top of the roller coaster." And he understood that. There
Yeah.
was nowhere to go but down.
Yep.
And that's not a bad down.
No.
Because he's still very extremely, extremely high.
Yeah.
But he can't be at that level the whole time.
Yeah. No, you will peak
know.
out. Yeah, you'll peak out. But that's interesting that he saw that and knew that.
Oh, yeah. Tosh knows it.
Yeah.
Tosh is very cool about it. And the thing about Daniel is he loves stand-up.
Yep.
And
He's
what-
damn good at it.
The he's great. And the show's not going to be number one forever. No show is. And, and then he'll move on.
Right.
You know?
To have that mentality. Right. That's a smart thing.
Are you
know.
interested in doing TV?
I am actually, and I've had a couple. Like I had a couple like development deals with networks, and just never got on the air. But I am interested
As
in,
an
like,
actor?
As an actor, yeah, to
Yeah.
like do a sitcom, and they paired me up.
See,
with
I see you more as really behind the scenes, like way where they can't even see
don't
you.
even look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's Mike? I'm back here.
Just
Writing.
just your eye.
Yeah. Writing. Just a show with a hat on, sunglasses. No, I do. I would definitely like to get in that world, and it's so funny. Like the couple times that I did have those deals, and they would put me with writers. You can see how like if you don't click with a writer, you're not going to get on the air. It's not going to happen. Like so, they had me with a couple writers,
Yeah.
great dudes, but like guys from Berkeley. One was a surfer. They in my show, my act is Detroit.
Right.
I was Detroit blue collar.
Yeah, yeah.
single white boy stuff.
It's funny
that was a
because
little
people
edgy.
don't think of Jews as blue collar.
And we are the original blue collars.
But isn't that funny? Because when
Yeah.
I was a kid, the Jewish guys in my life were my dentist, my doctor, and the guy who brought the tailor.
The meats? Oh, okay.
No, not the
Okay,
meats.
butcher.
The Italian guy was the meats.
Right. Right. So you're a vision, but you probably grew up in a neighborhood with blue collar Jews.
No, I didn't. No,
Where'd you
it was.
grow up?
I grew up in a white collar black neighborhood.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. I grew up in Philly. It was South Philly was Italian, black, and West Philly was primarily black.
Okay.
And
so,
we had some Jewish kids because they couldn't go to Catholic school obviously, but most of the kids went to Catholic school.
Right.
So the Jews and a few Protestants who protested the word of the Lord,
Right.
Luther, that hypocrite, that heathen. But yeah, so my idea when I moved to New York, then I saw blue collar Jews in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and I didn't know Jews drove trucks. My ex-wife, her father was a truck driver.
Yeah.
And I,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, man, you don't even think, I mean, like, that's an ignorance, not a prejudice.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
My whole family, like you go back in my family, and we had truck drivers,
Yeah.
butchers, bootleggers.
Candlestick makers.
You know what I mean? Grandpa owned a strip, like somewhat of a strip club.
Did he really?
Shady, oh yeah, called the Purple Pussycat
Where was that?
in Detroit.
You go back
So-
there?
I do. I go back a lot.
Do you live in the city?
I live like a mile from here.
No. Do you live in the city in Detroit? Did you
no,
live?
No. I lived in it was called Southfield. So it's the first city outside of Detroit. Like you're 8 Mile, across 8 Mile, Southfield is where Southfield starts.
I never met a white person who says, "Oh yeah, Detroit. Yeah, we live right in the middle of the city."
Yeah, no, there's like 2 still
Yeah.
there.
It's really a black city, huh?
It is, man. It's they're trying to get people to move back into Detroit and like revitalize-
Regentrification. That's what they call it.
They're trying, and it's not really sticking just yet. But I like going to the city,
Yeah, yeah.
But I grew up with like some rough characters who like we enjoyed going downtown and like messing around down there and
Yeah, yeah.
yelling at hookers for no reason.
What do you got a problem with hookers? Did you ever get a hooker?
Yeah.
I was.
Tom, I got a hook when I was 19 years old.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have the balls at 19.
Yeah.
But I definitely went through a phase. I always like to get hookers that I could never get in real life. Like, I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? I don't want like some like pretty nice girl like who's hot. I want like some fucking Amazon.
Yeah,
or
Amazon
some,
animal.
Some
Yeah.
bizarro, gigantic real tits.
Yo,
You know,
Dom,
she had like a bra and then a bra on the front of the bra.
double bra
Yeah.
Amazon. Just a giant double bra Amazon. Yeah,
Yeah. This-
my dad's buddies had like massage parlors and like I was visiting them. Like I saw some good degenerate shit as a kid.
Yeah.
And I just thought getting a hooker was like no big deal. And then I kind of moved out here and like none of my friends had ever had a hooker and they even looked down on it. And I just was like, started to kind of feel bad about my
Right.
life. I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah, I guess I'm the perv.
yeah, I mean,
Oh, I would never do that. I'd
I
never
thought it
pay
was a-
for it.
I thought it
I'm
was a
thinking
gr-
you're already paying for it.
I
You're
thought it
taking
was
her
a-
to dinner.
I thought it was a great thing.
Yeah. I have a friend, I can't name her, but her son, she found these magazines,
Yeah.
and the theme seemed to be big black butts.
Shut
Huge
up.
black, and this is like
That
this
is
little
fucking
little
funny.
suburban geeky white kid.
Oh, yeah.
Huge black. You see like these pictures. She was telling me these pictures of
Yeah.
just a giant ass.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? He's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
he wants the opposite of
Right,
what his
that's his
world is.
fantasy.
That is funny.
What time is it, Mike?
It's 4.
Perfect. We'll keep going a little.
Okay.
If you're all right.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're all right with this grilling?
I like it. I like talking.
I know I'm a hardcore journalist.
You're easy to talk to, Dom. You're easy
Thank
to
you,
talk
Mike.
to. You got a good flow.
Hey, I hope
You
this-
listen.
Well, yeah. What were you saying?
Exactly.
Come on, I'm giving you the ooh, ooh.
I'm taking it.
So I was just busting your chops last night about the Comedy Store thing. You know, that's coming out of love. I
Which
kept saying,
one?
here's a guy, he's a Comedy Store
Oh, right,
favorite.
right,
They
right.
love it. Because Jamie don't give a fuck.
Right, he
I
doesn't
should tell
care.
the audience, there's this war that the Improv and the Comedy Store used to have, which was really not as much when Mike came up, but when I came up in like the middle 80s, that was really at a high level. But Jamie Masada, who owns Laugh Factory, who's on the show sometimes, known as the Little Mexican, he never got into it. You know, so he was always
Smart.
Mitzi and him always got along. He
Right.
actually was an act there at
Oh,
one
really?
time. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And if you've ever saw his act, you'd know why he's a
Why I
club
started
owner.
owning clubs.
Oh God.
Yeah, look, man, the Comedy Store just has a distinct personality.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you favor a place. I just know where I feel comfortable. Like I just felt like a community that I could hang with. And
Over
like,
there?
Yeah. It was
Well,
just
this
more
has
my
developed into one over the last few years.
Yeah.
More. Now we have the upstairs and we can
Right.
hang there.
And you
Yeah.
almost need that. Like you need a place to physically hang out. You
Yeah.
know, like the Improv, you just never felt like I felt crowded.
See, in the '80s, it was like a disco.
See that?
You
that
never
must've been
saw. You
cool.
never saw the Improv at its peak.
No.
At its peak, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a good place to meet girls
Yeah.
and stuff. But this place is interesting because, a lot of shit's happened here.
Yeah.
You know, the Daniel Tosh thing recently, the Dane Cook thing, the Michael Richards, and this place is pretty strong. Withstands everything. And
Yeah.
Jamie certainly is one to capitalize on any publicity. Whenever even something terrible that happens, next day Jamie's on the news. He's telling me, make sure you wear a collared shirt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on. What do I have to do with the what's her name, the old lady that just died?
Phyllis Diller.
Phyllis Diller.
Yeah.
What do I have to do with Phyllis Diller?
Right.
You talk about Phyllis Diller. I mean, Phyllis Diller, I saw her when I was a kid, and I met her one time, but who am I to talk about her? I can't believe we lost Phyllis in her 90s. It came out of nowhere.
I mean, you gotta respect the guy for that type of he just dives into it. He'll just dive in.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's like he's just got that old school. That's like that hustler mentality. It's like the
Oh.
people that come here from another country and they're selling jewelry. They're opening a jewelry spot. They're
He's
always
crazy.
on the grind, and
Yeah.
it kind of they could even be separated from reality at times.
He is crazy. He's fearless. He'll go into
Fearless.
any fight. I don't know if you've ever seen him in action. He'll go in the middle of anything. He lost his sight, most of the sight in one eye. His dog, when he came home, the snout went into his eye socket, and it tore his retina. And instead of getting it fixed, he had to keep flying. So he basically hurt himself by flying because I have to go, buddy.
Yeah.
You don't have to go. It's your fucking vision.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
And now he's still having problems with it. But
Yeah.
he's crazy. He's fearless.
Yeah, that's
You
some
know.
old school mentality.
Oh,
right there. I'm not going-
totally.
Yeah, I'd rather. I'll take care of it later.
Yeah, take care of it later.
Yeah.
My ass. But I mean, I'm glad you're back with him.
Yeah,
You haven't been here for a while.
I haven't. I mean, besides being gone for a while, I just, I'd call in, not get spots, and I think it's one of those places you got to show up to even let them know that you're even around.
It's overwhelming, the number of acts. And also, the difference between here and the other clubs is the spots are longer. So that means
Right.
there's less spots,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
So you really have to come and deliver.
Yeah, it's
But-
it's so funny you say he'll dive into any fight.
Oh, yeah.
You know how I got beat up in West Palm.
Is it beat or beaten?
I got beaten. I got beaten good. But it just reminds you of comedy to me.
Well, you might as well tell them what happened now.
I could tell them. I got to keep it generic though.
Keep it generic.
I'll
Do
keep it
whatever is
generic.
good for you.
Um,
We want the real story.
Yeah, you know the real story, right?
Yeah.
You remember the story.
Yeah.
Did you know the dudes? Anyone that was involved in the story? Did you
No.
know any of those guys?
Who was it? Chewy?
No. Chewy wasn't involved. No, but
I don't know.
mean,
maybe
basically-
I didn't know though. But tell us what you want to tell us.
let's just say one night at a show, I got into a scrap. A fight broke out during my show. I tried to be a hero and stop the fight from happening, and
Never do that.
and which I will never do again.
That's why they
Two people
hire
are
bouncers.
I'll never do it. I literally dropped the mic, went down, tried to break up the fight. One of the guys, we got into it. We went at it. I fought the guy. It didn't, it was a terrible moment. And it turned out he was just a dude that you don't fuck with. And, 4
Did he
days later.
Oh, he came back and
they
got
came-
you?
Yeah, they got me.
So
that's the shortest version of
Did you
the
beat
crazy
him
story.
in the room?
I did. I beat him up pretty good in the room.
Oh, okay.
And he did. And
That's the thing about some of these fights. They don't end right
They
there.
don't end.
That's-
And this was a situation that just turned out bad. And it was my stupid ass Detroit mentality where I'm thinking, if I just punch the guy, I'll end the fight now and it's
Yeah.
over. I did.
He's going to wake up.
Like an idiot. And next thing I knew, I was involved in a whole it was a whole situation that I probably can't get into because it involved, I was getting visited every week by organized crime division.
Really?
People were showing up at my door.
So was he involved in crime?
I mean, he was.
Oh boy, talk about fucking with the wrong guy.
I fucked with the wrong guy, and it came back, and it got me.
They live for those moments.
He lived for it, and look,
Do
I survived it. I took a rough.
Is he in jail?
No, I didn't go that route.
Right.
I just decided to let's just let it.
I remember your face.
My face was fucked up.
Oh.
I took a bad beating. But it was a lesson learned.
How did he find you? Did he get you at a hotel or?
It was a setup. I was set up. It was like, show up here. You can just apologize. We'll be all good. It's gonna be daytime.
Man.
And I showed up. And
alone?
No, I had someone with me. Dom, it's like, I want to be able to tell like the whole honest story, but I feel like too many people watch this and like. Who knows?
Oh, you don't have to worry about people watching this.
No, but I don't know if dudes are. You know what I mean? There might be some of these guys might be comedy fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I don't want to get you in trouble again with it.
So it was just a bad situation, and it's all good now. I'm fine, but yeah, I was set up. They came at me. There were people called from
Obviously,
both coasts.
they could have killed you if they wanted.
If they wanted to kill me, I'd have been done.
Yeah.
And
you got to look at the bright side.
Right. And being from Detroit, I knew people that were in that world. So then I had, I made calls. Everybody. There were calls going on.
Wow.
Bottom line is, I fucked up when I hit the dude. I should have never done that. I could have avoided it. I did.
So they were fighting about something that had nothing to do with you.
Dude headbutted a guy in the middle of my show. I saw him go sailing. I jumped right in, calmed down. Fuck you. Boom, we got into it. Next thing I know, they're like, yo, you just hit the worst person you could have ever hit. They threw me out the back door of the bar.
Really?
I ran through
it was
streets.
a bar?
Yeah, I ran through the streets. Dudes are out there hunting me down that night. And
Did they know where you stayed?
They didn't know my address where I lived at all.
Oh, you were at home?
Yeah.
It wasn't here?
For the purposes of the story, let's say it was Ohio. I don't want to say
it was
city.
Ohio. Sandusky.
Yeah, it was
Jerry Sandusky,
yeah,
Ohio.
he was involved, the Sandusky Crime Syndicate. But yeah, man, I was running through the streets, fearing for my life, getting phone calls from people saying, yo, go to Detroit for 3 weeks. Just leave town, let this blow over. And I just knew that I had to face the music at some point because I had hit the dude pretty hard and he wasn't going to let it go. And I just decided on my own. I just knew what kind of people they were, and I was going to take it. Whatever it was, I was going to take a meeting,
man.
And we're going to figure this out.
What a horrible time in your life, huh?
It was fucking horrible. Horrible.
Jeez.
You saw me up there. And that was after 3 weeks of hibernation.
Oh, it was horrible.
Took a long time.
Yeah. I felt so bad for you. I mean, it was literally like you were in a like boxing, like you got beaten up by a boxer.
Yeah, I got hit a bunch. But what was crazy, I read that book, I Killed.
Did they knock you out?
They knocked me out, yeah. There were all kinds of shit.
Yeah, they didn't want to kill you.
They didn't want to kill me.
Isn't that interesting?
When I came to, I started checking my limbs to make sure, because there were weapons around. You know what I mean? It wasn't just.
What about this for a podcast, huh?
Yo,
what the hell kind of what?
We might have to edit this part out.
No, we're good because you didn't say anything.
I never said anything.
You said guys that knew guys, basically.
Not only did I not say anything, I got visited every week by the sheriffs and shit like that, and they were trying to go at me and say, because they knew what happened. They had informants, and so they knew what happened. So they were coming at me like
they were trying to get you to rat them out.
And so they came at me every week, banging on my door while I was fucked up, and they're like pulling out pictures of me from the hospital. They're like, "Oh yeah," I said, "I got mugged." They go, "This is what happens to you when you get mugged." Like putting my own picture.
It's like, what do you got? Professional muggers?
Yeah,
muggers that train.
And I basically said, "Thanks, guys. I don't know what you're talking about," and I just never said a word, and that was it.
Wow.
And it just, it is what it is. It was just an experience.
Don't say that. Yeah. How could it be anything than what it is?
I mean, fuck.
Yeah. Well.
It's like I wish I could be comfortable enough to fully tell the story, but it's just. I'd have to go.
I'm going to hear the story again when we get off the air.
Yeah.
But you'll never hear it.
Yeah.
Unless you tune in next time Mike Young's on. Yeah. Mike Young, thank you, brother.
Thanks,
You're
Tom.
great, man.
Thanks.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Good
brother.
to see you back here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
See you next time.
If she